Hi, hello, welcome back to the channel. Today is the weekly reading wrap up for week ending the 22nd of September 2023. I've only actually read one book this week and I haven't even finished it. I'm very close to the end of Never Die by Rob J. Hayes, which I'm reading through Kindle Unlimited, hence Kindle copy. I was planning to read this one and Voices of War by Zach Argyle this week. But I remembered that Ryan Cahill's new novella is out on Saturday, and I didn't think I'd be able to finish both with some other commitments that I had. In my non-bookish life, I did have a few commitments, got a family birthday and bits and bobs. So I didn't kind of factor that in when I was planning my reading last week. And so I haven't been able to finish Never Die, which is wild. Never taken more than a week to read a short book. And I didn't bother pushing through because I knew that I would want to start The Ice immediately on release day. And I don't even know, I mean, I might tweet at Ryan Cahill and ask him if I can read it at midnight, because I genuinely might stay up and read an hour before bed if you can, because I'm really excited about it. So that's actually a nice combo, because that is everything that I've read this week, which is Never Die by Rob J. Hayes, which continues to be excellent. I love all the characters. Since we last spoke about the book, I've been introduced to Iron Gut and the sharpshooter character, who I actually can't remember their name now. They're both really cool. The sniper rifleman character having kind of the opposite problem almost to the other undead characters is really cool, and the contrast there is really interesting. So I'll talk to you guys more about that book when I publish the review, which ideally will probably, because I want to get the Ice review up as soon as possible. So the review for Never Die will probably come after the review for the Ice, if I'm able to finish the Ice as quick as I am planning to, which is to read it in total, ideally on Saturday, the full day, but maybe I might be able to finish it on Saturday, but if not, I've got Sunday as well. So hopefully I'll be able to read the whole book in a single day and post my review straight away so that everyone gets to see my reactions as soon as possible. Maybe I'll do a Matt's Fantasy Book Reviews and put the book down and start recording the review. That could be a fun little challenge. So last week on the channel, or this week on the channel, I guess, we've had 4 videos now. 3 videos. Now, normally I like to post something every single weekday, but honestly, yesterday I was so busy I didn't even have time to read, let alone record a video and post something. And I didn't really have a video that I was passionate about making. So I do try to make my videos all be kind of a specific thing that I think that the audience, people who watch booktube videos, will be interested in. I am planning a series called Was It Worth It, where I talk about fantasy or science fiction series that I have read or have read to a point, and then I can say, was it worth it to spend my time reading that? Because I feel like, especially as a dad who has a full-time job and does freelance work and has other hobbies, sometimes my reading time is, half an hour to an hour a day at most. Again, yesterday I had no time to read at all. So was it worth it is almost more what I'm looking for when I'm looking at the why you should read videos. So what I want to talk about in those is kind of, was it worth it? A little bit about, plot, character, setting, etc. And then maybe go into a spoiler discussion of my favourite bits and all my least favourite bits. I definitely could do one of those for the Greenbone Saga, which is what I was going to do this week on Tag Tuesday, but then I got tagged, so I decided to do a Tag Tuesday video. And I think I'd like to do one for Murderbot, because I have a semi-controversial opinion in that I actually don't think it was worth my time to read the Murderbot books. So, spoilers for that future video that eventually I'm going to make. What I might also do is, I don't know, like, let me know if you guys would be interested in any of these kind of concept videos. But I had this idea for, because I read a lot of American comics. I read, Marvel, DC, independent stuff. And I was thinking about doing a kind of intro to comics for fantasy and sci-fi book readers. Specifically pointing to stuff like The Last God by Philip Kennedy Johnson, which I think that fantasy readers would just absolutely love. I'll pop up some artwork here if I haven't already. I probably already have. There's some artwork up here which shows you kind of like the amazing quality of the art that is in that book. And I genuinely, it's quite a short read as well, but you get that whole fantasy series, that fantasy novel experience. So there's my number one recommendation. There you go. That's a freebie. So that what did we have on the channel this week? So we did have my most successful video was that tag video. So managed to get 5 likes on that one, which I think is the most that I've had in a while. Actually, I got 5 likes on a couple of videos last week, so ignore me there, obviously. I got 5 likes on that one. Almost no comments this week. No comments this week. So I can't do like a comment of the week or anything like that. Although I will say that I commented on one of Philip Chase's videos announcing that he's got a standalone novel coming up next year. And I commented just saying, oh, thanks very much for, being supportive of my channel, because he's commented on multiple of my videos and he often retweets the videos that I post, or rezeets. Are we saying that? Reposts? It's not going to catch on. And he was like, while your channel's small, I'm sure when people catch on, find the channel, it will catch on, because the videos are good. So I'm really pleased about that. It's great to get that sort of feedback from somebody that you've been following and admire. Other videos that we did this week were 2 reviews. It was one novella and one novel, both of them from Ryan Carhill in his Bound and the Broken series. So it was the Exile non-spoiler review and the Of War and Ruin non-spoiler review. So in both cases, the one thing you see kind of with the Ryan Carhill reviews is that because so much of the plot is building on revelations from previous books, the time that I take to review the book is getting shorter and shorter, because there's so little I can talk about in a non-spoiler fashion. I do think that when it comes to talking about new book releases that are sequels, I might start doing non-spoiler impressions and then full spoiler reviews. So again, if you'd be interested in that sort of thing, especially I could start doing that with the Ice this week. So if you would like to see a full spoiler discussion for the Ice, please pop something down in the comments and let me know. So that was what I have been reading, what I'm going to read, which is The Ice and Voices of War. And that should, I think I'll have time for one more book to finish out Self-Pub September. Maybe 2 if it's short ones. But I might go for like a big chunky one. That could be fun. But I will say, everything that made it onto the Self-Pub September TBR secretly was already a long list TBR pick. So they're not going anywhere. So if, for example, you wanted to see my reviews of Harbinger of Justice or the Adan sequels, they're all going to get read, and likely next year is going to be when I'm going to read them. So the other thing is, what have I been kind of watching and playing? So weirdly, I have had some time for my other hobby, which is video games, and it kind of consumed a lot of my free time, which is why I had less time for reading. by playing Starfield. I'm absolutely in love with Starfield. We talked about it before where I was a bit iffy on it and I wasn't sure. Now I'm completely in love with it. However, I do recognise that it is extremely flawed, and it feels to me like just like one of the most interesting 7 out of 10 games I've ever played. So that's kind of my thoughts there on Starfield. The other thing that I would say is while I was playing Starfield, I was watching Manifest on Netflix, which is like this older show that is about basically these passengers on a plane disappear. The plane disappears and then it lands 5 years later, but no time has passed for anyone on the plane. And then they start to see like visions where they have to help people in trouble. It's a really interesting concept, and I like that it's not just the like we've lost a plane, but it's also the like what's going on after the effect. So it's almost like if you look at Lost, when they started doing the flash forwards where they'd gotten off the island, it's kind of like that almost. One other thing that I watched that I wanted to recommend here, I'm sure that if you're watching this video, you know who Daniel Green is. He's like the biggest fantasy booktuber, probably, fantasy and sci-fi. He seems to be mostly doing like adaptations and like TV and movie stuff lately. And he's just posted a 3-hour video about Fringe, which is one of my favourite TV series of all time. It's like a late 2000s X-Files with less of that kind of creature of the week stuff and more of that novel format TV that we saw pioneered in things like Babylon 5, where kind of the episodes they're kind of treated like prestige TV almost. So something that I would genuinely massively recommend, because Fringe is genuinely excellent, but also Daniel's video is really good. So if you've got 3 hours, and I certainly had 3 hours while I was mining and setting up outposts in Starfield this week, then it's a great second screen watch, because you don't always need to be watching 100% the video that he's making. You can mostly listen to his commentary and then kind of look over every now and then. That's kind of how I watch a lot of video essay style stuff. So, what have you been reading this week? Pop down in the comments what you've been reading, what you've been watching, what you've been playing, what you've been enjoying. And I will speak to you next week post The Ice, a brand new release from Ryan Cahill. If not my favourite fantasy author, definitely my favourite self-help fantasy author. So, I'll see you next week.